tax cuts. We're live in Brisbane, where the jury is now deep into its deliberations in the Gable Tostee murder trial. Plus, what happened when a suspect in a police car jumped into the front seat and drove off? And almost everyone's in for a northwesterly tomorrow. It's not cold, but there's a few more showers around.
This is Prime News, first at 5:30.
In breaking news tonight, Dunedin cleaner Alexander Merritt has been found guilty of the murder of his boss, Karen Ross. The Crown alleged Merritt killed Ross after she told him off about his behaviour at work. The jury went out just after 12 this afternoon and deliberated for almost 5 hours before reaching the unanimous verdict. Merritt will be sentenced on the 13th of December. A Brisbane jury in the trial of Gable Tostee is still deliberating tonight. Tostee is accused of murdering New Zealander Widina Wright, who died after plunging from the 14th floor balcony of Tostee's Surfers Paradise apartment. Sophie Lowry is in Brisbane and joins us now. Sophie, any sign the jury is nearing a decision?
Well, not really, and it's anyone's guess when they will come back with a decision. They've been deliberating now for just under 5 hours, but before they got started today, they had 4 questions the judge needed to answer. The first 2 he described as being irrelevant. They didn't relate to any evidence that was presented in court. The first one was Tostee's age at the time. The second was a silver object that he was seen carrying in CCTV vision. The third was Widina Wright's state of mind at the time, her level of intoxication when she climbed the balcony. The judge said, well, you as a jury, between you, surely would know how much alcohol can impair decisions. And lastly, with the ingredients that make up the charges of murder and manslaughter, such as things like intent and unlawful killing.
And Sophie, what sort of coverage is that trial receiving in Australia?
Well, it's been huge. I can tell you from every day there are about 30 reporters sitting in the media room with me, but they've really upped the ante at the moment. As we speak, there are news anchors from every major TV network here who are doing live rolling coverage. And I asked why. They said, well, it's because of the significant access to evidence. You've got CCTV footage, Tinder messages, and that harrowing audio. It's almost as if media can recreate that first date between them and obviously the terrible, tragic events that unfolded. And of course, Yannicka, this is the last final chapter, the jury's verdict, and it's just really a waiting game.
Yeah, Sophie, thank you. The booming prison population could restrict plans for any tax cuts in the near future. The government has announced another 1,800 prison beds are on the way at a cost of $2.5 billion over the next 5 years. Political reporter Lloyd Bird joins us now from Parliament with the details. Lloyd.
Yeah, good evening, Yannicka. Yeah, this came out of the blue. It seems the government sort of scrambled together this prisoner plan, and we're not talking peanuts either. We're talking big money, $2.5 billion going into this whole plan. 1,800 beds, $1 billion is going into building new wings on existing prison sites, another $1.5 billion going to operating them, and it'll see the prison numbers increase by around 18%, I think, taking it right up to around 11,500 prisoners, which is actually quite a lot. One thing that I'll note, though, the way the government spun this, the way the government spun the big boost in prison numbers is of their hard line on crime, their hard line on violent crime, on methamphetamine, and they're also talking about jobs, how many jobs this will create. 700 new prison officers, and as well as those who are going to be building these new facilities.
So, Lloyd, will this put the shackles on tax cuts?
Yeah, well, just last week, Bill English was talking up tax cuts. Today, he's talking them down. Just 5 days ago, you remember that surprise $1.8 billion surplus. Everyone wanted a piece of that pie. There might have been a lolly scramble. There was all this talk about tax cuts, but Bill English pretty much had to come out today and say, look, it's pretty much unlikely that we'll get them. So, yes, last week he took those shackles off tax cuts, but today he's put them right back on.
Lloyd, thank you. Well, a homicide investigation has begun after the death of a man who was found in a critical condition outside an ambulance station. The man was discovered in a car outside the Whangarei ambulance base at 6:40 this morning, but he died shortly after. Police are now searching 2 Whangarei addresses in relation to the incident. The name of the 37-year-old man is yet to be released. And a man is dead after a plane crash in Matamata. The pilot, who was the only person on board, hasn't been named yet. The distinctive aircraft is believed to be a Titan Mustang. Civil aviation officials are investigating. Junior doctors have revealed just how tired they are as the 48-hour strike gets underway. Up to 3,000 doctors around the country have walked off the job in a dispute over hours. Here's Lucy Warhurst.
The demonstration may be quiet, but the message from junior doctors is clear. Safer rosters, safer doctors, safer patients.
We're tired. We're not making the best decisions. So we want to introduce a day to have some rest.
It's the first time in 8 years that doctors have gone on strike, but they say they can no longer put up with rosters that have them working 12 days or 7 nights straight. But rather than protest, many junior doctors have organised community projects, including a blood drive.
Who knows, I might be using my own pint of blood sometime to save a life, hopefully, when I'm not tired though.
Dr Pratik Vadgaonkar says the fatigue is unsafe.
I was so exhausted that I've fallen asleep while taking patient histories. I've fallen asleep while driving, had to shake myself up and wake myself up.
And he's not the only one.
10 people who've crashed their cars in the 2 years that I've been working, 3 people who have ridden theirs off, and I can't imagine that if someone's in the state that they are to do that, that they're not going to be at their A game treating patients.
The DHB say they are willing to change rosters but not pay for extra rest days. The doctors I've spoken to said they'd take a pay cut if it meant working fewer hours. Junior doctors will remain on strike until Thursday. Until then, the DHB say their plan B is running like clockwork. Lucy Warhurst, Prime News.
A pro-euthanasia group claims its elderly members are being targeted by police. It comes after one woman was arrested for importing a Class C drug and another had a helium balloon kit confiscated. Laura McDonald has more.
76-year-old Patsy McGrath has no immediate plans to die, but 4 years ago she legally bought a helium balloon kit which can be used in suicides.
I wanted to have it ready in case I needed it.
McGrath watched her sister lose all movement in her body from multiple sclerosis before she died.
I just know if that happened to me, I wouldn't want to live like that.
She was shocked when 2 police officers turned up at her home 10 days ago with a search warrant and took the helium kit.
I do not believe that it is anybody's right to stop me, the police, doctors, anybody. I think it's my choice, my right, my body.
McGrath's a member of Exit International, a pro-euthanasia group which claims police are targeting its members.
It seems like a concerted attack on our organisation, and it's something we're very concerned about.
Police will only confirm that there's been one arrest, a Lower Hutt woman who's been charged with importing a Class C drug as part of an ongoing investigation. Marion Street says several people's homes have been searched as part of that investigation.
On the basis of what evidence? Just that their name is on a list of members of an organisation?
She claims it's political interference while public submissions are being heard on her euthanasia petition.
I'd say to Marianne Street that, it's like a lot of conspiracy theories. Normally they're not true.
But Street says the minister should put herself in the shoes of those being targeted. Laura McDonald, Prime News.
Now, how's this for an unusual police chase? Officers in an offender's car chasing a suspect driving a police car. It happened in Hamilton after a man was pulled over. He was put in the back seat of a police car but jumped into the driver's seat and took off. Here's Diana Vesich.
There's something wrong with this picture. The person behind the wheel isn't a police officer.
I was sitting in my car, I was checking my messages, and I saw the police pull over a car. Then I saw a guy yelling as the police were putting him in the back of their police car. And then I saw him climbing over the seats and getting into the driver's seat. And then he just drove off in the police car.
Jasmine Radford was parked nearby and filmed it. She says the police were left standing on the side of the road, stunned. One then approached the car he originally stopped, ordering a woman out of the front seat. The police were keen to start the chase, but were held up for a moment as the woman jumped in the back.
They looked a bit shocked and they called for help. They got in and they sped off after him.
Jasmine Radford says the man who took the police car even put the lights and sirens on as he sped away.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Police say that